This is WNY Football Report live from Starpoint High School to cover their homecoming game against the Williamsville East Flames. I am Tyler Gilbert. To my right is Leon Thompson. Week 3, what are your thoughts?
Well, I got one thought about last night in a minute, but one thought I want to get out of the way while we're here. Guys, we are here at Starpoint High School, and I got to admit, this is the first high school that I have been to that'll tailgate a Friday night high school football game. Got the student section in the back with us. They're very excited for us to be here. We're excited to be here. We have a very good contest against Will East tonight. Kind of formed a little bit of a rivalry here in the past couple of years. Will East have gotten the best of them the past few times, and Starpoint wants to make that different here tonight.
Well, I mean, Leon, you touched on it with the fan base behind us. We got here a half hour ago. They're tailgating like it's a Bills game.
They're still going.
It's an hour before kickoff, and it's already starting to get packed. This might be one of the best environments we've been at so far this season. But last night, we saw something that's never been done in Section 6 before. We saw Adam Nunez from South Park run for 591 yards and 7 touchdowns. You heard me correctly, and that has set the state record. Shout out to Adam Nunez and his South Park teammates, that old line up front for him. It was a crazy game. They beat Iroquois 58-28. Leon, talk about it.
Before I get too much into Nunez's performance, I just want to give Iroquois their flowers real quick. They kept a very close game in a shootout for about the first, like you said, 2.25 quarters of the game. You know, we had a 26-20 halftime score. There was just something else that was destined to happen tonight other than them taking the dub. I mean, aside from the obvious, aside from the stats, aside from the almost 600 rushing yards, all the touchdowns and everything else, I was just impressed with this kid all through and through. Everything that I saw on the sideline, everything that I saw on the field, you know, he was probably talking the least on that team, and he was the guy running for all those yards and running them over. You know, very small frame kid, but he just played it like a creative player, you know? He just... Every run that he broke off, you know, he wasn't just doing it, you know, running through clean blocks and running through straight lines. He was running people over. He was juking people. He was spinning people out of their shoes. And, I mean, this is a kid that also plays both sides of the ball, ended up having a big interception return on defense for about 40 or 50 yards to add to his night. Had some key kick returns as well in that performance. I mean, just all-around good kid. And I think my favorite thing that I saw out of him is, I want to say it was somewhere around the third quarter, he tried to go in for the kickoff after he just broke off one of his bigger runs of the night. I think it might have been the 90-yarder. And he had to get yelled off of the field trying to be out there and just compete. And that's what you love to see out of a kid like that.
No, and absolutely. And like you said, Iroquois played a heck of a game for as long as they could. When you got a running back running like that, he's hard to stop. But big shout out to the Iroquois offense. Looked really good last night. Eustace Kletz, I think I'm saying that right. Someone correct me if I'm not. He had a hell of a game. 270 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. He did throw a couple picks there trying to get the team back in the game there late, but he played great.
I got to give credit where credit's due. That receiver room, I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't know a lot of the kids that were on that squad, but that receiver room ended up being very fun to watch. You know, they just went up and tried to catch everything for their team. You know, you love to see that out of guys on the outside and the inside and really anyone that tried to touch the ball. You know, that was a full team effort to try to overcome the big challenge that was number 7 and that South Park squad.
Well, tonight we have a heck of a matchup, some sort of, like you said in the opening, a rivalry brewing of sorts between the Starpoint Spartans and the Will East Flames. We were out here for training camp, got to talk to some of the senior leaders for that Starpoint team, and they said that Will East has gotten a hold of them the last couple times they've played, not only on the field, but for 7-on-7s as well. And Will East is coming off a big win, upsetting number 18, Williamsville North. I mean, this should be a great game, through and through.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen Will East one time before, and, you know, that's a team that fights for a full 4 quarters. You know, we saw them in their loss week 1 against Ken West, but you know what? That was, you know, just last second, down to the nitty-gritty, just a fantastic game by both sides all throughout, and I expect to see more of the same here tonight. Like you said, we saw Starpoint in training camp. They are determined. You know, I was here for that playoff game against Lockport, and, you know, all through and through, even despite the loss, like you said, this is just a great environment to be in. Very excited to be back here again. But I think that they are looking to kind of I don't know how exactly I want to say this. I think they're looking to send a message to these teams that have kind of, gotten a hold of them lately. You mentioned Will East. Can't remember the other team that they mentioned to us when we were back at training camp.
The other team that they mentioned other than the Flames was the Sweet Home Panthers. And the Sweet Home Panthers, they had a week 1 loss to Orchard Park. They put up 47 on Hamburg. I think they played tonight as well. Can't really remember who. Sorry to the Sweet Home Panthers. But Starpoint plays in a very competitive A2. You got teams like Will East, Will North, I believe. They might be A1. You play Sweet Home. You play these bigger teams that are really good. And Starpoint wants to prove that last year they just didn't get there on a fluke. They want to prove that they mean business, and they've showed that. They beat a very good health sciences team week 1, and they beat up on a North Tonawanda team last week and set their starters for most of the fourth quarter. So this is going to be a really good game. Will East has a kid by the name of Ryan McKinnon, and he can sling that ball all over the field. And don't be fooled that he's just a thrower. He can run the ball too. He's got a rushing touchdown, at least the one we've seen against Kent West, where he ran over the linebacker to get in to go up, with about a minute and a half left in that game. But Will East also has a kid by the name of Giovanni Freeze at running back. And you want to talk about a kid who's a do-it-all back. You need someone to catch the ball out of the backfield? He's your man. You need someone to get quick yards and he's fast? He's your man. You need someone to run through a couple guys? Giovanni Freeze is your man. I'm really excited to watch him tonight.
I have one name for you, and it's actually a name that someone has already said. From this very Starpoint squad right here, we have Mr. Number 5, Lucas Lombardo. We watched this kid play a couple of times last year, and let me tell you, he is absolutely electric on the defensive side of the ball. He's a sideline-to-sideline kid from that linebacker position. He'll get down and dirty in between the tackles to stop the run. There is just nothing that this kid will not do, and there's nothing that this kid does not know how to do. He's very good with his timing on plays. He knows where the ball is going, and he gets there. Just honestly an insane athlete to have at his size at that position.
I call him mini Micah Parsons, the way he gets after the quarterback. He is so quick. He's so good with his hands, and you're not blocking him. I don't care who you are. You could be the best tackle in the state. Blocking Lucas Lombardo is a challenge, week in and week out. And now, with some vacations here on the Starpoint's offense, this season he's getting to tote the rock a little bit. I've seen a couple clips of him toting the rock. It's taken 4 guys to bring down a guy who is 5'8" and 180 pounds. Lucas Lombardo is the real deal. And I said it in training camp when we talked to him. For the college coaches not recruiting Lucas Lombardo, you're doing it wrong. Someone needs to take your job because this kid is for real.
Well, we happen to have ourselves a guest tonight. Former Starpoint player, also played up at the D3 level over at Alfred State. We have Mr. Sam Halleck, if he wants to come on down.
How you doing, boys?
How you doing?
Good to see you.
How you doing?
Your big self is going to stand right in the middle right here.
All right, sounds good.
All right, so been a while since you've been here since your playing days, and this seems to be the question that we always ask the guys that are returning here, back on the old stomping grounds, first time in a while. What memory of your playing days is popping up for you right now?
I remember, and a name that you said a couple times is the Sparks. I remember playing the Sparks on this very field, and I remember having just a heck of a game with them even back in my day. I remember we only won by a singular point. Them boys have always fought hard, and they've always fought tooth and nail for everything that they've ever wanted. So it was always a great game here, and it was always a good time to be on the field.
So you're an Alfred guy, an Alfred product. You went down there, played some college ball. Can you talk about your recruiting experience a little bit?
Absolutely. The coaches here do a good job about trying to get your name out there, trying to make sure that you're on the ball with your highlight tapes, especially coming up on your senior season, trying to save your clips. If you have a good play, make sure that you keep it somewhere safe so you can make that compilation and make a good highlight tape for your recruiters. I just sent my tape out. I got invited to a couple training camps. Did the offensive lineman coaching things on the off-season workouts and stuff like that, and just had to grind for it and work hard. And Alfred State was really the only college that showed interest in me, so that's where I picked to go.
Awesome. And then talk about your time down there. How was it being down there playing for Alfred State?
It was a eye-opening experience, man. Especially just because the culture is different. It's kind of similar to what we have out here. A lot of country stuff, just having a good time. I also picked Alfred State because their automotive program is just absolutely excellent and top tier, and that was something I wanted to do with my time. But the football, the culture there is always fun. There'd be the same thing. They have hot dog day, and they have all this tailgate stuff that you can do beforehand, and they're always ready to rock and roll when it comes for the lights to come on Friday night. So
Awesome.
yes, sir.
Now, the question I really want the answer to,
Oh boy.
who do you got tonight?
Who do
You
I
said
got
it yourself. Williamsville East is always a tough matchup for this team.
Yes.
These two teams right here are looking like it's going to be a lot of the same tonight. What do you think? Who do you got?
Who do I got? You got to root for the home team, buddy. It's homecoming night. You can't pin it up against the boys. You got to root for the home team. I got Starpoint Spartans all the way, brother.
How about you, Leon? You know, we've seen the Willie East Flames this year. You know, we saw Starpoint a couple times last season. Who are you picking tonight?
When you watch a team, you can see when there's just something different about them, to be completely honest with you. You know, it's not a matter of, picking favorites or anything like that. You just go to certain schools, you go to certain programs, and you just think about it all the time. The things they said, the things that you saw. What I saw out of Starpoint when we came to this training camp was a coaching staff that was willing to teach these kids in multiple facets. They were very willing and able to teach them everything they need to know to learn their position, everything that they need to know to keep themselves healthy. I mean, up until we came here, I'd never heard of a veteran rest day in high school. Not a single day in my life.
Me either.
You can just tell that this is a coaching staff that is dedicated to the health and well-being of their kids, as well as their development, both outside and, both on and off the field. And the one thing that really stuck out to me is this team was running sprints every time they made a mistake in practice. Every
absolutely.
time.
Yep.
Every single time. The coach saw something he didn't like, they were lining up. So if nothing else, these boys can run for 4 quarters, without a doubt.
That is true.
So you know what? I got to go with the big guy right here, mainly because he's too scary to disagree with. I got the Starpoint Spartans tonight.
Well, it's going to be a clean sweep. I'll be honest. 2 reasons. One, Starpoint has a kid that I've already talked about, Lucas Lombardo, and I can't talk enough about him. Whoever said it behind me in the student section, Lucas Lombardo's a dog? Lucas Lombardo's a dog, right? Best player in West New York. That's a little much. But I do love Lucas Lombardo as a player. And on top of it, they got home field advantage here for homecoming. This place is packed. Student sections, they still got kids coming out from tailgating. I have the Starpoint Spartans 34-21 tonight.
I just got one thing left. Who's ready to watch some football tonight? Who's ready to see their team go at it tonight?
This is my WNY Football Report. End it.
Natural, my boy.
Oh, good.
Natural, my boy.